There are many books about policy and geopolitics. Hal Brand's Eurasian Century just happens to be the most recent one I've read. It turns out he's the son of a famous historian, so perhaps that alone makes it worth reviewing. The central claim or thesis to Hal Brand's book, The Eurasian Century, is that for the past 100 years and more, foreign policy has been focused on Eurasia. Brand starts with the invention of geography as a separate subject and explains why its relevance was different and more important in the era of intercontinental war. Brand starts out by describing a fear that early 20th century liberals in the West had of a growing autocracy in the east of Asia. What was different about this was it was a shift in outlook. The U.S. was no longer safe from intercontinental fears. Brand goes on to discuss various conflicts involving Eurasia in the 20th and even 21st century. He notes the concept of Eurasia that marks the major difference in modern warfare and geopolitical rivalries. For example, we have war spanning over intercontinental planes in both the First World War, the Second World War, the Cold War with the Soviet Union, the present-day Cold War with China, and the hot war that's going on right now between Russia and Ukraine. Towards the end of the book, Hal Brand makes his philosophy on foreign policy known. He talks about a policy that's very much in line with liberal idealism that talks about trying to deter China from invading Taiwan, for instance. He states it may be necessary to continue relationships with autocracies like Saudi Arabia, and it may be necessary to work with repressive democracies like India in order to rival China. He also warns that we shouldn't be ready to assume that China won't invade simply because there's a risk to them. In the past, countries have invaded with the full knowledge that there were risks that they were facing in doing so. Most recently Russia, but also Japan invaded Pearl Harbor with the full knowledge that they were risking war when they did so. For my own part, I agree with Brand that we do face geopolitical threats. I also agree that there is a moral component to this, where fighting against, genuine geopolitical evils is a good thing to do. I wish for this to be, of course, balanced. I don't wish for the U.S. to go to war. I'm not looking for that level of intervention. But Hal Brands advocates that we be prepared for this. I'm not going that much in depth into what Hal Brands says. This is just a general summary. But that was my impression of Hal Brands' The Eurasian Century. If you have any comments that you think that I really left out from Hal Brand's work, or if you'd like to subscribe, feel free to do so. Thank you. This is a new channel.